The situation in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo is deteriorating. Recent fighting between the National Army and the Rwandan government-backed M23 rebel group has left more than 100 people dead. These genocidal forces continue their siege of the West Bank, where they killed a young man in the town of Jenin on Wednesday. In Gaza, the killing continues with different methods. And according to United Nations Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE), nearly 6,000 migrants have been arrested. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. The situation in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo is deteriorating. Recent fighting between the National Army and the Rwandan government-backed M23 rebel group has left more than 100 people dead. With memories of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi still fresh, the authorities in North Kivu have confirmed that more than 1,000 people have been wounded and 500,000 displaced. The toll is the result of clashes between the M23 rebels backed by 4,000 Rwandan soldiers and the Congolese army. Doctors from the International Committee of the Red Cross have reported grueling days treating serious injuries and seeing many bodies on the streets of Goma, the capital of North Kivu. These genocidal forces continue their siege of the West Bank, where they killed a young man in the town of Jenin on Wednesday. In Gaza, the killing continues with different methods. The Zionists did not respect the ceasefire in Gaza for a single day on Wednesday morning. Their boats wounded several fishermen in Khan Yunis, south of the Strip, where they also arrested 2 of them. The mayor of Deir Ittija, northwest of Salfit, Abdul Rahim Sidane, confirmed that the genocidal troops fired toxic gases at several houses in the area, killing a whole family, including a baby. All of them died of suffocation. On the other hand, the Red Crescent has confirmed the killing of 25-year-old Omar al-Hajja. The young man was attacked by a drone in the city of Jenin. In Palestine, over 376,000 Palestinians have returned to northern Gaza in the last 48 hours after the ceasefire came into force. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reported that Palestinians are returning to Gaza City and the Palestinian towns of Habalia, Beit Lahia and Beit Hanun, areas that were hit by the Israeli occupation during 15 consecutive months. The United Nations Office also emphasized that most of the returnees are men, a quarter are women, and the other quarter are children. Meanwhile, OCHA pointed out that most of the displaced have set up tents next to their destroyed houses. The United Nations Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, accused Israel of trying to sabotage the recovery and political transition of Gaza. UNRWA's chief, Philippe Lazzarini, made the accusation after the Zionist regime ordered to forcibly close the agency. Experts said that the government of Benjamin Netanyahu wants to strip the Palestinians of their refugee status and deny them the right to self-determination, in addition to erasing their history and identity. Lazzarini argues that curtailing UNRWA's operations, in addition to undermining the ceasefire and compromising the international humanitarian response, will sabotage the recovery and political transition of Gaza.
President, the Knesset legislation defies resolution of this Council and the General Assembly. It flouts the ruling of the International Court of Justice. It disregards that UNRWA is a mechanism established by the General Assembly to provide assistance to Palestinian refugees pending a political answer to the question of Palestine. Implementing the legislations makes a mockery of international law and imposes massive constraints on UNRWA's operation.
New Zealand will not allow entry into its territory of Israeli soldiers involved in the genocide in Gaza. Since the onset of the Zionist onslaught, New Zealand authorities put in place a screening process. It specifies the necessary requirements, many of which are related to the travelers' military service and the length of time they perform it. The measure has recently gained prominence as the country barred entry to an unspecified group of Israeli who refused to provide the information. Palestinian solidarity networks conduct a major international campaign to identify Israel soldiers, many of whom have publicized their war crimes on social media. Russian air defense forces shot down more than 130 Ukrainian drones in 9 areas of the country. The Russian Defense Ministry said approximately half of the destroyed drones were shot down in the Kursk border region. The Defense Ministry also detailed that another 27 unmanned aerial vehicles were shot down in the Bryansk region, which also borders Ukrainian territory, while another 11 Ukrainian UAVs were eliminated in the western area of Smolensk, border in Belarus. Ukraine intensified its offensive against Russian territory during the last week. The Belarusian government expects to become a full member of the BRICS Political Economic Forum. Foreign Minister Maxim Ryzhkov stressed that being a member of the BRICS and interacting in the alliance allows to expand strategic ties with countries and trade partners at a global level. Ryzhkov also indicated that the bloc promotes the development and growth of bilateral relations at the highest level in areas such as politics, economy, culture, technology, among others. The diplomat pointed out that his country is aligned with the new global needs and seeks to contribute to the policy of multipolarity, with which the BRICS are identified at present in order to preserve and build real peace and support each other's peoples at all levels. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger will no longer be part of the economic community of the West African state ECOWAS from Wednesday. The split leaves the grouping without 50% of the region. The three countries have formed the Confederation of Sahel States, a very important milestone in the region. The consequences for ECOWAS are enormous, particularly in terms of economic impact, but it is also a reflection of the inability of the states that make up the economic community to deal with the crisis. ECOWAS formally accepted the three countries' request to leave in December of this year. The new alliance that makes up the Confederation will maintain relations with the ECOWAS states, but will distance itself from what it is seen as behaviors that is far removed from Pan-Africanism. Australia's emergency services report wildfires that devastated thousands of hectares in the southeast of the country. According to the data provided by the authorities, the combination of hot and dry weather conditions favored the spread of the fire in several national parks. Among these is Little Desert National Park, with at least 65,000 hectares destroyed in less than 24 hours. Emergency services continue to work to contain the flames as well as to protect wildlife and nearby communities. So far, no casualties or injuries have been reported. According to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, nearly 6,000 migrants have been arrested. The agency updated that 969 arrests were added to the 4,981 detentions reported at midday on Wednesday. In this way, the control operations ordered by President Donald Trump amounted to 5,950 arrests who have allegedly committed serious crimes. The federal government has a wide range to define crimes and offensive. In less than 48 hours, they have gone from murderers and thieves to people who are criminals just for entering the country illegally, as the White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt ensured. In the United States, a federal judge halts the president's decision to suspend public aid and essential assistance programs. Another executive order by the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has been halted by the courts. In this case, the White House will not be able to freeze federal aid as ordered by the President. The order, which had unleashed a political storm by posing a risk to the health of millions of citizens, as well as affecting the energy transition and international aid, was blocked by a federal judge in Washington. The decision runs until February 3rd and has received strong support from the attorneys general of 23 states, who announced they will challenge the president's action. The World Health Organization, WHO, warned of serious consequences to low and middle-income nations in their programs to combat the human immunodeficiency virus HIV due to Trump's administration's decided to immediately suspend its funding. World Health Organization stated that those programs provided access to therapies against the virus to over 30 million people worldwide. The entity further alerted that the end of U.S. sponsorship could result in an upsurge of new infections and death, which could reverse the progress achieved in recent decades. In this regard, it called on the United States to authorize additional waivers to ensure the provision of life-saving HIV treatment and care. Honduras has responded to the White House orders against migrants. President Xiomara Castro announced the measures she will take to help her compatriots. The national emergency strategy was announced on national television on Tuesday evening. The Central American nation will implement actions programs for the more than 200,000 Hondurans with deportation orders, as well as people of other nationalities, affirming that human mobility is a phenomenon exacerbated by the implementation of a liberal economic system, and reaffirming that migration is a human right. She explained that the plan includes supporting areas such as health, social and legal assistance, the creation of shelters, as well as family reunification.
I reaffirm my position to maintain a close dialogue with the United States of America so that our policies of reciprocity and respect are confirmed by both nations for the sake of our peoples. I inform the Honduran people that I decree and enact the National Emergency Strategy for the protection of Honduran migrants, which includes an action program for the following groups of migrants: Hondurans in an irregular migratory situation in the United States, Honduran migrants in transit, Honduran returnees. These emergency action programs force us to make cuts in public administration and budgetary efforts within the difficult condition in which we find ourselves in our country. The programs include economic and social rehabilitation.
Los programas incluyen reintegración económica.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to stay tuned at teleSUR with a special interview in which journalist Breno Altman will be talking with the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, this Wednesday, January 29th at 7 p.m. Caracas time. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The National Electoral Council of Ecuador is progressing in its preparations of the general elections to be held on Sunday, February 9, 2025. The ruling entity detailed that the electoral material is already distributed in 13 out of the 14 domestic provinces, as well as abroad. The National Electoral Council further added that those ballots will be safeguarded by the security forces, especially in the localities where high levels of violence are being registered. Official data revealed that January was the most violent month ever in Ecuadorian history, as in just 25 days, at least 600 people had been killed by the armed groups. In the presence of the Cuban head of state, Miguel Díaz-Canel, members of the Council of State and Ministers, the 6th International Conference of the Balance of the World was inaugurated on Tuesday in Havana, the country's capital. The event, considered a forum of plural and multidisciplinary thought, brings together world leaders and representatives of social organizations to promote dialogue between civilizations without hegemonism and with a culture of peace. Héctor Hernández Prado, coordinator of the organizing committee and president of the International Preparatory Committee, said that more than 900 foreign delegates from 93 countries take part in the event. Leaders and activists attending this conference recognize that it is an opportunity to come up with ideas against barbarism.
We come here for turning into a reality what Marty said, trenches of ideas worth over trenches of stone to unite the peoples of the Americas.
I am seeing now that Trump is threatening all countries. It is incredible. In less than 2 weeks he is threatening countries from Latin America to Africa to wherever, and that is horrible. And we are going to have a horrible time. However, people around the world are opening their eyes, so they said, the Biden's administration was pretty lousy. But this one is going to be worse. What are we going to do? I think the good thing is that we are opening our eyes, and we are uniting. As we are here in Havana, thus, we will face together what is coming, now with that bad administration.
Hundreds of millions of people across Asia celebrated the Lunar New Year, ending the Year of the Dragon and welcoming the Year of the Snake. During this period, the Chinese enjoy 8 consecutive public holidays for the Spring Festival 2025. During the traditional 40-day period before, during and after the Lunar New Year holidays, some 9 billion interprovincial passenger trips are expected to be made on all modes of transport, according to the state news agency Xinhua. In many parts of East and Southeast Asia, including China, South Korea, Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand, houses and public buildings are decorated with traditional red banners to ward off evil. This year, the festivities even extended to space, with Chinese astronauts Kai Shu-se, Zhong Lingdong, and Wang Haose sending New Year greetings from the Tiangong space station on Tuesday. The head of the Catholic Church, Pope Francis, greeted the Chinese people on the occasion of the Lunar New Year during his general audience this Wednesday.
I cordially greet the Chinese-speaking people, dear brothers and sisters in East Asia and in various parts of the world. Millions of families are celebrating today the Lunar New Year, an occasion to live with greater intensity family relationships and friendship. With my best wishes for the new year, may my blessing reach all of you while I invoke for each of you from the Lord, peace, serenity, and health.
Paz, serenidad y salud.
And we have come to the end of this news brief, but remember you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.